Gary Yourofsky is back from retirement. For those unfamiliar, Gary is one of the most famous vegan activists. He's also a dick, and I think he would be the first to admit that. He hates humans. He's stated this many, many times over the years. He only cares about animals, and that's essentially the only thing I've really said about him on this channel. It's been years now, but I think I made a video about him and just, denouncing his misanthropy. I really don't think there's room for that in vegan activism or any activism, and I was not happy to hear that he's back, quite frankly, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's changed.
Before this stream, we talked about how New York is such a vegan haven. Like, there's so much good vegan food there. Major cities like Tel Aviv, of course they're going to be vegan friendly. But my question is, where is the actual census data?
I don't know. It doesn't exist. I give up. Catherine, I give up. I give up. You win. It's the least vegan-friendly city on the planet. Nothing happened in Israel when I was there. Nothing. You're right about everything. I can't win. By the way, everybody, cancel me. Cancel me out. Don't listen to me. I'm still going to do what I'm doing and convert more people than any other vegan on this planet single-handedly. This isn't going to stop no matter what you guys thought you were going to do today. I appreciate the fact that you tried to destroy me today, Catherine. Challenge everything that I ever did. Everything. Condemn everything I ever did. Intersectionalists are great. They're the most rational people around. Oh my God, Gary, they're so open-minded. Human rights people are so great. I love the way they eat steak and hamburgers and say justice for all.
To be fair, that was towards the end of a 2.5-hour debate. So, he might have been a little worn out and harder to contain himself, getting upset, enraged at just the slightest pushback. And Catherine asking for actual data, like for an empirical claim, yeah, that's good. She should do that. And yet that's how he responded. Not that I'm a big fan of what Catherine and Natalie say in this debate, because, oh my Lord, I am not particularly toward the end. Holy shit. Which is why I decided to make this video. If it was just Gary Yourofsky talking about how much he hates humans, okay. Heard it. Anyway, I'm not going to cover everything, just the stuff that stuck with me and made me want to comment.
The sanctuaries are struggling. There's a horrible philosophy that's been going around for around 20 years. I think it's called effective altruism. I don't find it to be effective nor altruistic at all. They're claiming that money spent on sanctuaries is not money well spent. Well, sometimes charity is just charity, even if there's not a good return on investment. And since there are only a couple thousand animals worldwide that have escaped the hellholes that we've created, I think that sanctuaries should get all the money that they deserve. And right now, they're relying on the vegans of the world to help them out. So it falls on us.
So I am definitely one of those dirty, effective altruists who have criticized vegans for promoting donating to sanctuaries. We have limited money, and so I think that money should go where it will do the most good, where it will be most effective. Funding the care of a few animals just does not do that when there are organizations focused on outreach. If we're giving money to something that could help a small number of animals when we could be giving that money to something that could help hundreds of times that number of animals, that should give us pause. We're basically choosing a world where hundreds more animals are harmed because the sanctuary makes us feel good. Let's be real. It's like all of these GoFundMes asking for thousands of dollars for their dog with cancer or whatever, for one dog. And they get funded. People give money because it feels good. They see the dog has a name. We are made essentially to care about those closest to us and those we know, those we can picture in our minds, right? If you can see an animal, if you can put a face to the name, even if you're vegan, you're more likely to care about that animal than some faceless cow about to be slaughtered. That said, I'm certainly not anti-sanctuary, and I do think effective altruists or whatever, certain people can maybe jump to conclusions about what is or is not effective. I think if a sanctuary has a strong social media presence, that is outreach. Look at Esther. How many people did she and Steve and Derek convince to reduce their animal product consumption or even go vegan? shit ton more than me, I'll tell you that. I also suspect accounts like that are great for keeping people vegan, reducing burnout by reminding us of animal value, when we're struggling, feeling like, what does it matter? Just reminding us why we're vegan. Finally, sanctuaries offer a place for animals freed by liberation to go. And I think freeing farmed animals can be really pivotal experiences, right? Experiences that create lifelong vegans. If we don't have sanctuaries to take these animals, maybe we don't have young activists getting into rescue, and maybe we have fewer effective older activists. Wild speculation, of course, like who knows, but it's not a clear cut, only give your money to like Faunalytics, Mercy for Animals, don't ever give money to sanctuaries, type of situation. It's not that clear cut, but hedge your bets probably, right? Again, we have limited money, and I do think it's highly unlikely that a sanctuary is going to be more effective than like a charity focused on outreach, especially if we're talking about the like highly recommended charities by animal charity evaluators. They put a lot of work into figuring out which charities are most effective at helping farmed animals and wild animals. And as you can see, none of these are sanctuaries.
I'm shocked that the meat, dairy, and egg industries are fighting cell meat, though. This is so bizarre to me because they're going to save so much money. This is all going on because of money, right? Animal slavery is the #1 business on this planet. Don't they realize they're going to have one big Walmart-like building, and in one room they're going to grow the flesh on clotheslines? They move it to the next room, cut it up, package it up, put it on the truck. I can't believe that they're fighting the cell meat industry because that is the future.
He's right. It is all about money, but he is missing, like... It's pretty obvious, Gary. Come on. The current cruel meat companies, unless they are getting in on the ground floor, getting into cultivated meat early, cultivated meat will threaten their market dominance by making their meat infrastructure obsolete. All of these CAFOs and slaughterhouses are huge investments for these companies. If clean meat happens, they will fail against a more efficient competitor that acts and tastes like meat because it is meat. You just spent millions on a new slaughterhouse, right? That's debt on your books, very likely. And then something more efficient that doesn't need any of that comes along. That is a threat to your company. That is why they want to ban it. I say they, there are companies like Tyson who are being a bit smarter, hedging their bets, but the rest simply don't have the ability to compete in the cultivated meat space. They may not survive the transition. It's a lot easier and cheaper to pay politicians to get it banned.
Humans say humans first, animals last. Well, I say animals first, humans last. And let's go to go ahead.
I think that that's a false dichotomy because I don't think it's a good idea to flip it. I think it's a better idea to say, hey, I support you in your efforts. Will you support me in my efforts? And try to get those people on our side, saying that veganism is the solution to all the world's problems. That is what you're saying when you say this is the root of all evil. And if we simply teach children to be kind to animals, they're not going to be racist. They're not going to be sexist.
You made a good case. You made a good point. Maybe I got to stop saying that. I mean, it goes back to what Pythagoras is the one that quote, that famous quote he's got, as long as humans continue to be the ruthless destroyer of other beings, we will never know health or peace. For as long as people massacre animals, they will kill each other. Those who sow the seed of murder and pain will never reap joy or love. This is where I got that statement. This is when I formed it. I read that and I said, man, he had something 2,600 years ago. But maybe that was wrong too. Maybe Pythagoras had it wrong, and maybe I need to stop saying that. I'm not married to it. It's not something I have to say. I don't always say it.
So that was good. That was a far cry from the first clip I showed, although, maybe, as I kind of alluded to at the beginning, maybe that's what led to the outburst, right? Like he was trying so hard to keep it together for those 2 hours, really trying to listen, really trying to be good. And he's just not good at that. And even this apology is meh. He has to draw it out, saying over and over that he's not wedded to the idea. He only used it a couple of times. The funny thing is, I know very little about Gary Yourofsky. He played no part in me going vegan or anything like that. And I know that he said that. Like, I'm pretty sure I commented on it in the video. I remember watching a clip and was just like, oh, this guy's nuts. That's like the main thing I know about him, that he said veganism would cure all these other social ills. And I do think that's a very large part of his philosophy, at least it used to be. But yeah, good on Catherine for bringing it up and getting him to apologize. That said, I do take umbrage, what a great word, take umbrage with her like false dichotomy claim. The dichotomy between fuck human rights and intersectionalism or bust, that is the false dichotomy. You can both not be misanthropic, not be a dick, and also just not say anything, just focus on your own cause. I think it's okay and even good for activists to focus on their own field, to learn as much as they can, to specialize essentially, right? So that they know all of the arguments, they know the evidence, they know their opposition. I think that's what's going to allow activists to be the most effective. Most animal advocates also care about many other injustices across species and groups. That big heart can attract allies, but it can also divide. Inside the movement, disagreements over which causes to support and how can spark infighting. Outside, it can alienate potential allies who support animals but don't align with our views on other issues. I don't think diluting our activism with an ever-growing list of controversial social positions is effective. We're alienating people, as Tobias said. Highly recommend his Substack, by the way. We're making it harder for people to join, right? People who only agree with the vegan part. And to be clear, I do not follow my own rules. I have many times talked about controversial things that have nothing to do with veganism, and I'm sure alienated a lot of people, mostly ultra-left intersectionalists, but some conservatives too, I'm sure. Sometimes I genuinely don't know a topic is controversial. I would say most of the time I genuinely don't know, but there have been times when, like, I don't know, guys. Sometimes I'm a dick. And yeah, that's why I made my controversial series a Patreon exclusive series. You gotta pay to watch it. So yeah, I can talk about all that other stuff I feel the need so strongly to talk about without alienating so many people. Hopefully, possibly. Finally, everyone is wrong. Like, Gary is wrong to hate humans, but he is right that Catherine and Natalie are being very naive. We'll advocate for your cause. Please advocate for ours. Like, really? Really? Number one, again, they shouldn't do that. Activism should be focused, I think, on the cause. And that's not just for veganism, right? If you are promoting trans rights, focus on trans rights. Don't talk about veganism. Number two, it's not really an equal exchange. You know, I talk about your thing, you talk about mine. Like, don't be a transphobe. Okay, done. Go vegan. What? Tobias shared a great story in his article, Change Meals, Change Minds, in that order, about a woman getting a beef allergy from the Lone Star tick. You might have heard about this. It's happening right now with Martha's Vineyard. She talks about the environmental benefits of her condition and even says that the tick has like made her a better person. What happened here is that Amy's behavior changed first. That tick triggered change created space for her attitude to shift. Having discovered that living without the food she liked was perfectly possible, maybe even tasty, Amy became more open to the arguments against eating meat.
Behavior often inspires like mental change and how you think about things. Like before I went full vegan watching Dominion, I had been experimenting with plant-based diets for health for a while. And I think that that opened me up to the animal rights messaging.
No other cause asks for as much as veganism does. That's why, you know, a lot of activists are moving away from it and focusing on reduction or focusing on institutional change. Personally, I believe very little is going to change without cruelty-free meat, either plant-based or cultivated, right? Meat that is affordable, available, and comparable in taste and texture to cruel meat. Until then, most people are not going to accept the sacrifice and the social awkwardness of veganism or even vegetarianism.
I was a complete idiot, and it was a racist statement that I made saying that the Palestinians were the most psychotic people. I 100% take that back. I was a fool and I was an idiot, and I'm not embarrassed to say when I'm wrong. However, that doesn't mean that I lean towards the Palestinians in this situation, and it doesn't mean that I despise all human beings. Let me explain this further. I lean towards blacks when it's a black-white issue. I lean towards gays and trans when it's a gays and trans versus straight people issue. I lean towards women when it's women against men. That still doesn't mean I don't think all human beings are psychotic and we're a scourge. We're the infestation of all infestations. So I do have sides that I favor in certain situations. That doesn't mean I don't despise humankind. And when I say I despise humankind, I don't think people understand misanthropy. That doesn't mean I despise individuals. Individually, I get along with just about every human being I come in contact with. No joke. If you go to the LA Fitness in Royal Oak, Michigan, where I work out, you go inside and ask them about Gary. They'll say, "Oh, I know Gary. I walk in the gym like, hey, Adrian. Hey, Big John. What's up, Mike? Hey, Ken. Hey, Mr. Ed. Hey, John. What's happening over there? Hey, Natalie. How you doing today?" I know everybody. I get along with everybody. It's not that I don't care for individuals. My fuck human rights statement is an homage to George Carlin. Okay, there's sarcasm in there. It's about flipping the script, about putting animals first and humans last. But it's, my hatred for humankind. It's humankind that I can't stand. We're all a scourge, vegans included. I'm like South Park, by the way. I'm like South Park, for the record. I make fun of everybody. You can find, I make fun of vegans. I make fun of black people, white people. I've gone after men and women. I've gone after everybody. No one's off limits.
But I think you're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
I'm so sorry if editing Swayze decided to include all of that. She must have felt it was necessary. Hopefully I could cut that down. First, it is good he apologized. It's atrocious what he said. Second, he started so strong and then what happened? I don't even know. I understand why Catherine was confused by his apology. She said he should post a written apology, somewhere, prominent. And I agree. He should do that. It's just such a horrible thing to say. It should not be surrounded by whatever that word salad was, right? It needs to be just very clear. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Second or third, maybe, he leans toward marginalized groups, but he also doesn't care about humanity, but also he does, but not humanity, individual humans. They're cool. And he's a real people person and everyone loves him. Sure. What? I think he is very conflicted, as he said, I think during that outburst that I shared at the beginning. He's been doing this. He's been advocating for animals for a long time. And in his mind, nothing has changed. That's demoralizing. It's why he hates humans. But he's still a human being, and we generally need socialization. So of course he doesn't hate people. So how does he square these two things? Oh, I just hate humanity, not individual humans. I wonder if he just stopped demonizing effective altruists, welfareists, the moderates, whatever, and actually listened to what we have to say about saving animals, about activism, about human psychology, about the psychology of change. I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't be so angry and confused.
You know who's perfect? Herbivores. Cows are perfect. Antelope are perfect. The herbivore animals are the most moral agents on this planet. You want to open up another topic? I'm about to condemn every animal rights philosopher in history that talks about humans being moral agents and animals being moral patients. Humans, moral agents? Since when? Where? More superiority bullshit? Putting us at the top of the fucking crown of creation? We're the bottom. We're the scourge.
I majored in philosophy, and I will be the first to tell you that it's a bullshit major. But man, if you're gonna talk about ethics, you're gonna talk about philosophy, please take some philosophy courses. Read some books. Although apparently he has. Moral agent does not mean you are moral. It means you have the ability to be moral, to make decisions. You have a choice to be moral or immoral. You can act on that decision and be judged accordingly. Moral patient, like many animals, human babies, it means you can't be condemned for your behavior. At the same time, though, you have moral value and should be protected. Most wild animals, carnivore or herbivore, are in a survival context. Morality is a luxury, and an herbivorous animal in particular would have very few chances to make moral decisions. Now, I don't think it's completely clear cut. I don't think it's right to say wild animals are only and always moral patients, because we have examples of them being altruistic towards others, doing things, helping other animals with seemingly no benefit to themselves, even sometimes in spite of risk to themselves. But that is certainly not the norm. It's not common. It's not in any way comparable to our everyday choice to cause more or less harm to animals by choosing what we eat. Saying herbivores, saying cows are the most moral is kind of like saying a person in a cage being fed vegetables is the most moral, because, hey, they're vegan, they don't drive a car. Your average vegan YouTuber probably doesn't know this, and that's perfectly fine. But Gary Yourofsky has been in the space for decades. He's read from animal rights philosophers. They're all wrong, of course. He obviously knows of these terms. He can regurgitate them. He should know what moral agency means.
That's a true statement.
Why are you talking about these things if you want to focus on the animals only?
Gary, if you're watching this, as someone who is most certainly not an intersectionalist, please stop talking about intersectionalism. Stop talking about Israel. Stop talking about Palestine. Post an apology somewhere where people can see it, and then stop. You're just getting into more trouble, which is obviously upsetting you, and you're taking focus away from animals, which you say is all you care about. So, what? For someone who hates humans, man, you spend a long time talking about humans.
There's a button, and I could push it right now and eradicate every human on this planet. I wouldn't even consult with Carmen. I wouldn't fucking call Paul Bashir. I wouldn't text Joey. I fucking press the button. I press it. It'd be done. I hate human beings, and you will never change my mind. I hate human beings. You will never change my mind. Never.
There's actually a whole subset of vegans called the button pushers. That's a pretty common thing.
Button too. I just think that the difference between the red button and the genocide in Gaza is that the red button eliminates all humans, and there is no suffering that ensues from that because we all just simultaneously die. But with the genocide in Gaza, that's creating immense human suffering.
Who cares about human suffering when animals are suffering?
I care for the same reason.
Well, then go care. I don't.
Suffering.
Being racist? No, not cool. Murdering billions of people? Hell yeah. What? They both casually agree with the worst, most obscene, misanthropic thing Gary could possibly say. The only disagreement is over whether people should be killed painlessly all at once, or if it's fine for humans to be killed painfully, to save non-human lives. That's the disagreement. As soon as you start assigning negative value to human life and existence, it's very hard to justify the former stance without logically concluding the latter. All you're doing is weighing the suffering of a human death and the mourning of relatives against the suffering of many, many non-human animals, hundreds or thousands over a human lifetime. Unless we assume the human suffering at the time of death is just hundreds of times worse than that of the non-humans, the position of these button pushers just does not make sense. Which is good. I would rather them be inconsistent. Christ, y'all, get off the internet. Make some friends. This is Zizian level nuts. I'm being a dick again, but smiling at the thought of murdering billions of people, okay.
You're trying to please human rights people. By the way, come see me in 29 years. Remember this day. I will forgive you when you come see me in 29 years after you've been shit on by the human rights people. And you too, Natalie, when you've been shit on for 29 years, you come see me and tell me you won't have the same positions. I'm just saying, you're going to have the same position I have. Come see me in fucking 29 years when nothing gets done, when horse carriages are still going on.
I will not be saying fuck human rights in 29 years.
Oh, well, fine. Then you can have a halo over your head and feel better.
I think Gary is 100% right here. I think misanthropy is inevitable if they stick with this button pusher shit. None of them have an understanding of the underlying philosophical matter. They're just going on gut feeling. The only difference is that Gary is jaded enough to follow through, follow these bad anti-humanity arguments to their logical conclusion. The girls don't do that because it gives them the ick for now. Now, I don't know if I agree with him on the being vegan for 29 years. I think I don't know, speculation, of course, but I think staying on this ultra negative track, avoiding education in legitimate philosophy, like Gary has managed to do, I think in all likelihood they will not stay vegan. And I think this is a problem that is not going to go away until vegans like this genuinely start valuing humanity and human life in and of itself. Then we can actually have serious discussions about effective altruism and where to put our money and our time. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe. And thank you so much to my members here on YouTube and my patrons at patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. I do, as I said, post 2 actually exclusive videos a month for tier 2 members and patrons. I do a vlog, and then I also do a controversial topic. I've been doing this now, I think this is my 3rd year. Is that right? Yeah, I love doing it. Like, I have fun making the videos. I love getting feedback from members and patrons. I've learned a lot. I've changed my mind about certain things. Yeah, it's awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. New video soon.
Individually, I get along with just about every human being I come in contact with. No joke.
So am I the opposite of that? Because like I generally do not like people. I don't like being around individual people. It's very draining. It's very boring usually. Yeah, so I love humanity, but I hate individuals. I don't think that's better.